Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Angelita Howard, and I am thrilled to be featured as a woman in the Bold Maven magazine for January 2024. This is going to be an amazing, amazing issue. You don't want to miss out.
Can you share a little about what you do?
As a leader in higher education, I have the pleasure of overseeing academic programs. I also have the pleasure of connecting and partnering with organizations to bring access to students who otherwise may not have access. I have the pleasure of building programs, making sure that students are graduating, making sure that students are connected with industry for jobs. And on the improving access side, I have the opportunity to share in faith-based education, faith-based health initiatives, again, bringing access to people who might need health resources, health education, and really helping to make sure people have healthier outcomes through education.
What is your education background?
I have a bachelor's degree in music because, yes, I was going to go and be an opera singer. I have a master's in leadership. I have an MBA, a business administration, master of business administration and project management. I have a doctorate degree in education leadership. And I have a few certificate programs, one focused mainly in health informatics, again, improving the access and wellness of people, communities of color.
How did you switch from music to education?
I switched from music to education because I was rejected. And I say that in the slightest form, not to make a mockery of rejection, but I was actually told no. I had gone to an audition. I was going to sing. I thought I was going to further my career in music, singing on a national platform. And my first audition, I went, had a great audition, and they told me no. Well, they actually told me no, that I couldn't be a lead singer. They put me in the background. And I didn't want to be in the background because I did not think I should be in the background. But this is why it's important to have mentorship. Because had I had a mentor, my mentor would have told me, you start here and then you grow. You grow to this stage. I wanted to be on the stage. So that really changed that shifted me to education. I knew I always wanted to teach or do something in education, but that immediately shifted me from music per se, the singing part. And then I started teaching music, and I enjoyed teaching, and I started teaching other things, and that really fueled my educational pathway. So while I don't sing professionally as it relates to every day for a full-time job, I still get to sing every now and then for special events.
What does the typical workday look like for you?
My typical workday. So I get up about 6:30. I do a little exercise. I normally walk 3 miles a day. Now, I know what you're saying. Maybe, that seems a little much, but it does help the stress level. It really, for me, it is my stress level. It helps my cholesterol because working a lot of times in the evenings, I'm not gonna lie, I like to snack. I like some peanut M&Ms every now and then. I like a ginger ale, so that does help me keep balance. And I love Starbucks. So in order for me to intake all of that and keep my stress level down, the morning exercise really, really is helpful. I have a team meeting. I meet with someone in our team, probably starting about 8:30. And then for the rest of the day, I'm working with students. I'm working with our faculty. But most of all, I'm working with our industry partners to make sure that our students have what they need, to make sure that our faculty have what they need, and to make sure that we are improving the lives, giving people access. And then at some point of the day, whether it's in the morning or in the evening, I'm going to have some alone time, me and God, to work it out. We're going to have a conversation about what took place behind those closed doors in meetings, what I didn't like, what I didn't appreciate. We have a one-on-one talk about it. And then, of course, I have a daughter who's in school, so we're going to talk 2 or 3 times on Facebook. And that's really what the day looks like. I have the fortunate pleasure of mentoring mentoring a group of people through improving access. And so we spend time, usually 2 to 3 hours a week, between mentoring projects and people, working with them in the evening hours on different writing projects, on different group projects. And if I'm lucky, if I'm singing on the praise team, I might get a chance to go to praise team practice. And then on third Saturdays of each month, I have the opportunity to meet with my beautiful sorors, the Alpha Kappa Alpha. So all of that, yes, sometimes happen in a day. But again, my day is filled with making sure that our students have the access they need to be incredible leaders once they are finished with school.
Can you talk about your desire to, quote, bring education access to students across the globe?
Yes, my desire to bring education access across the globe has been fueled with me probably as long as I can remember, 20 plus years. I've always wanted to make sure that people had levels of access. For my master's degree, it was a non-traditional master's degree. We went on weekends, and that was the start of my passion of doing non-traditional, or making sure that people, no matter if they were full-time parents or single parents or whatever their situations or circumstances were, they were able to have access. One of the most recent ventures that I took on right during the midst of COVID built what is called a summer bridge. And the summer bridge program was really to give access to educational access to underserved communities so that they could have an opportunity to learn more about biotech, health informatics, justice involved care, dealing with reducing recidivism. It is a free program. It's 5 weeks long. It's really aimed toward those who are in underserved communities, undergraduate, and or who have their graduate degree. Again, it's a pathway to help them think about how do they bridge their education, how do they grow their education. And so all of these areas really, for me, is meant to provide people with access that they otherwise sometimes may not know about, may not have the resources to go. Unfortunately, we live in a society where education is not free for all at this point. And so as much as I can do to give people access to different educational opportunities for no cost or lesser cost, then that is fulfilling my responsibility and my duty and my passion for excelling education.
How have you been able to translate those desires to your business, improving access?
Improving access was birthed out of the necessity to give people who necessarily didn't have a voice, or give people the opportunity to grow. And so improving access does just that. We work with churches, we work with organizations, nonprofits, profits, to help build their, not only their value proposition, but to build their educational platforms to make sure that people who don't have necessary access. For example, we work with correctional systems. A lot of times in correctional systems, people come out, they don't necessarily have jobs, or they're underemployed. Why? Because they've been locked up, they've been in jail. And so we want to change that trajectory. We want to make sure that they're having what they need while incarcerated, or while being impacted, so that when they are released, they never have to recommit because they don't have food, or that they don't have the necessary healthcare benefits. So doing that work in improving access has really given us the opportunity to push a greater agenda. And that agenda is making sure that people have access to education. They have access to what we see sometimes as minor but is major: dental insurance or dental benefits, health insurance, making sure that they just don't go to the hospital for emergency, but they have providers, that they have primary care providers, making sure that moms who are single, they have food, they know where the food pantry is, or those who, again, that's what I talked about, who may have to choose between, will I feed my child or my family, or will I pay my bills, that they don't have to worry about feeding that, because we've provided access for them to go and get food and other resources that they may not always have.
What do you consider to be some of your biggest accomplishments so far?
My biggest accomplishment is my daughter. That is my absolute biggest accomplishment. Just making sure, again, that she sees women, not just myself, but other women who have stood the test of time, that can reach back and pull others up along the way, and build that pathway. But outside of my personal, my daughter, again, building programs for underserved students, building programs for those who've been impacted by the justice system, building avenues for those who are in faith-based organizations to make sure they have access to their medicines, access to good health care, or health care, access to information that is going to help them make healthier decisions, make sure that they have access to food and the things that we sometimes take for granted. So that has been something that I've really been proud of, to be able to provide those access and impact change for people. To continue this conversation, you can read my story on theboldmaven.com. Make sure you subscribe to the Bold Maven newsletter to gain access to the digital magazine, theboldmaven.com.